Well, hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk to you about a topic that people talk about, and I think sometimes people misunderstand how they define love. And I'm not saying that this video is going to be like, this is how you define love. And I just want to give you that up front because I don't want you to kind of judge how I perceive love from my perspective. This is how I see it, and this is how I would define love. I'm going to tell you the 4 things in which I define love, and then I'm going to break those 4 things down and explain why I think these 4 things are the important part to love and in a relationship. So keep in mind that not all of these 4 things may come up in a relationship or how you or someone else would perceive love. And I'm not saying that you have to be like, hey, he's wrong about this, he's wrong about that. Just keep in mind that I'm trying to be open, and if there's something that I miss and you think that it's something important to talk about, leave it in the comments below and I will answer back. So the 4 things that I find in a relationship, or how I would define love, is number 1, unconditional acceptance. Number 2, this has 3 things in it, but I think they all have some way of relating to each other. So number 2 is honesty, faithfulness, and truth. Number 3 is freedom. And my last one is caring. Number 1, unconditional acceptance. This is where I think the person that you are falling in love with or you admire has to have some acceptance to you. That being said, they have to be willing to understand who you are and not try to be like, oh, I need you to change this, that, because if you try to change a person, that's just going to make them frustrated, and they're just going to be like, really, what is the point on having a relationship with you when I cannot be who I really am? And if they keep asking you to change and change and change, there's something wrong with that person. It's either they have some insecurity or they're holding on to something in the past and they're not willing to let it go and let you develop who you are inside. They want something out of you that they thought they had in the past. So they're trying to recreate things in their current relationship and try to say, hey, you need to do this, that, oh, blah, 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 and etc. And that is a red flag, because if they can't be unconditionally acceptance to who you are, then you need to move on or work it out. That's another way of saying you need to communicate, or it's not to be dealt with in a really respectful way. I can see that this may not be like the first one you would think that would be at my top of my list. If you can have truly unconditional acceptance between one another, it will go a long way. I will say, for example, in my relationship right now, that has been one strong thing that I've found to be really appreciated in the 2 years we have been together. I could not ask for anything better. And when you have that, it makes you feel like you can be your true self. And there's no mask when you're in public or with them alone. So I think that's what I would define unconditional acceptance. The second one, which had 3 things that had some relating to each other, is honesty, faithfulness, and truth. So let's talk about truth. Truth is where you can be honest and faithfulness, and you can be truthful to them. Well, I'm saying truth, but the word is truthful, I think. It can go either way. And I'm not saying that you have to say, oh, he has to be truthful. He can also be telling you the truth. So there's two ways of saying that. Honesty. When the person is honest and upfront, honesty comes a long way. And I think when honesty is where you're able to say, hey, I messed up today. I forgot to do something. I didn't do something. I did something and I feel bad about it. When the person can be honest with you and say, hey, I messed up, it's saying they need help. And they're coming to you because they don't feel like they have to run to someone else and say, oh my gosh, I just did something bad. My boyfriend or my girlfriend or whoever is going to be mad at me. But if you can communicate that in an honest way, then the person that you love or admire or whatever, they will be like, you know, he messed up. He didn't mean to hurt me by doing it. It shows you that they want to be willing to trust you and have your support. And though you may be mad at them that they did something, that leads to faithfulness. Because they're being faithful. They may have messed up, and their faithfulness, you may think that they're now unfaithful. But keep in mind that they were honest with you, and that, number one, they communicated with you. They told you up front. They didn't try to hide it behind you. They didn't try to keep it away. They didn't try to keep it a secret to you. They were trying to be at least faithful to you, and somehow they slipped through the crack. And knowing that they want to keep your trust, and they were being true to you, or maybe truthful to you, and it does take a lot to be like, oh great, they just did something and they don't feel remorse. Yes, they do, but sometimes they don't know how to show it. So that's why communication, unconditional acceptance are the number one. So I'm adding communication to number one. Honestly, this whole thing goes around communication. And I guess that's the whole connection between all four of these. I hope that made sense there. And if not, I tried my best, but honesty, faithfulness, and truthful are another thing you should look for. Let's move on to number 3, which is freedom. Now this one took me a while to understand. Why is it freedom? It took me a while to be like, hey, you need to have freedom. You need to have friends. I realized that down the road that I wasn't always having freedom to myself. I wasn't able to go do things and not feel happy about it. Lately, I've learned that having freedom doesn't mean you can go run off and do something with others. You're being honest with them and they're allowing you to have freedom. Like, keep in mind, you have family. Like, I have family too. And so does my partner, and so does everyone else. We all have to have a group of friends. Whether they are guys, girls, vice versa, or a group of girls and guys. That one person that you are truly in love with, if they're not willing to give you like the freedom, then that's another red flag. You have to have the freedom to do something that you want to do. Like, say you have to take a trip and you have to go visit your family, you have to go do something. That person that loves you needs to understand that. And that always goes back to my number 1, unconditional acceptance, because they're willing to put their trust and understand that you need to be with your family. And there always has to be a balance. And there is some boundaries to freedom, I will say. There is an extent to freedom that you can have it. You have to be aware of where it can go. So that's something that you need to talk between your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your significant other, your whoever you're talking to, and just make sure they understand where your boundaries are on freedom. Though that doesn't really make sense to me right now, I think down the road it will, because I have struggled with having my own freedom, and it's just like, hey, I need to do something and I want to know, is it okay with you? And if it's not okay with them, then you realize you have crossed over into something that they're not comfortable with. You kind of understand, where is your freedom, how far does it go, and just be understanding about that from them. Which comes to my last one, number 4, is caring. Now I know that you care for certain people, like you care for your person, like your significant other, your boyfriend or girlfriend. You can't just care for just one person and say, hey, I care for you and I don't want to talk to the rest one. You can't isolate yourself. If you care for your significant other one, boyfriend or girlfriend, you can care for them too. You just need to make sure you set the boundaries for another girl or another guy, and just say, hey, these are how I would see it, and go from there. Just keep in mind that all of these things that I've talked to you are not something that everyone would define what is love. I think that about wraps everything up. So if you like this video, please click the thumbs up. I hope to make more videos, so stay tuned and have a great day. Peace out.